Hi folks, I'm Nicolas Fränkel. I've worked for 17 years as a developer, an architect, a solutions architect. Then I noticed that I became dissatisfied with how projects are run. Basically, you spend a lot of time like trying to fix organizational problem with technical solutions, and I decided to become a developer advocate. Nowadays, I work on the Apache APISIX project. Apache APISIX is from the Apache Foundation. It's an API gateway that is built on top of Nginx. Then we have OpenResty on top, which is a Lua engine. Then we have a lot of out-of-the-box plugins written in Lua that allows you to configure your routes. I won't talk about it today. Today, I want to talk about this problem. Imagine you are a developer. And by developer, I mean it's more general. You are a person working in tech. You can be a developer, you can be an architect, you can be a designer. It's not important. And you want to build up your career. You want to make your CV shine, but you don't want to become a manager. My experience has shown me that employers could be divided into two axes, whether they are more local or more global, and whether IT for them is a support function or a core business. I believe that global companies whose core business is IT is the target. At least that's, again, my experience. That's what I aim to do nowadays. And in the following, we are going to see how to target those companies. So you hear a lot about this GitHub profile being your developer CV. And I completely agree that is completely debatable. Some companies will care about it, some don't, but the companies that are global and whose core business is IT are very interested in your GitHub profile. However, there is a chance that your GitHub activities, well, are pretty empty. So here, of course, is nothing at all. Perhaps you don't have much to show, but, well, it might be the case. There are a couple of reasons. First, if you are working for a local company, your project might not be public or even might not be open source. Thing is, perhaps you are not on GitHub. Perhaps your company is working on GitLab or they host their own repo, and well, you commit, but your commit are not shown on GitHub. Another reason is you have a social life, meaning that outside of work, you don't want to work on open source projects. That's not the point. This is the case, you don't have much to show. In my case, for example, before I worked on projects and basically I had a lot of contributions in private repository, meaning that my GitHub activity was very nice, but people from the outside, well, they couldn't see much. However, I believe, or no, I'm sure that most of you have a lot to show, even if it's not about GitHub commits. For example, you might be writing blog posts, you might be speaking at conferences, perhaps you are a designer and, well, you have your own portfolio. Perhaps you do stuff on Instagram. Perhaps you are an avid Stack Overflow contributor. I don't know, but most of you have something to show. So the idea is we want to take all those activities and put them on GitHub. And there is a magic repo. And this repo is your handle/your handle. And basically, if you create a README at the root of this repo, it will show up on your profile. So let's see some example of what people are doing. So at the simplest level, you can just put your resume, but on GitHub. You add a couple of emojis, you add some links, and it's done. It's already something. Or you can have some more let's say interactive presentation saying, hey, I'm this person, this is what I like to do, this is what I'm doing. So different presentation of who you are. Perhaps you want to write like something that works on a GitHub page. For example, a music player. Perhaps you want to leverage the pages and have lots of links and then have your like 3D GitHub activities as an app. Or if you are really geeky, perhaps you want to create an interactive chess game. And so this one is very interesting because this is not only an interactive chess game, but you have links, and basically every time you click on the link, it's your next move. So the person will receive the PR. So when you click on the link, it opens the PR. The repo owner will receive the PR, will merge it, and then it will advance the game. If you are lacking inspiration, I encourage you to have the check at this awesome GitHub profile README. You find a lot of different ideas depending on who you are, what you like, how do you want to introduce yourself. I'm sure you will find something that is for you. I'm a developer, I'm not a designer, so my profile is not that interesting. I just want to get data and to put it on my profile. For example, I say, hey, I want to show my 3 latest blog posts, my next conference talks, and my latest YouTube video. For that, I have APIs available. For example, of course, for YouTube, I have the YouTube API, but for some of my talks, I have the GitLab because I store everything in GitLab. And for my blog, I have the RSS, so I will fetch everything. My tech stack is very specific. I wanted to learn about Kotlin scripting, so I use Kotlin because I'm a big Kotlin fan. If I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't use Kotlin. Perhaps I would use Python or something else. But anyway, it was still an interesting learning experience, and it works, so it's fine. So I have this tech stack, and I have the GitHub Actions. And the GitHub Action, it's scheduled daily. So every time I do a change, then it will scrap the latest change daily, and it will do the checkout of the repo, install Kotlin, execute the script, which I'll show you just afterwards, and then commit and push. So this is how it translates. I have this like build.yaml. I can like trigger it manually. I also have a schedule. And then, as I mentioned, it does the checkout of the repo. I install Kotlin, and then I have this script that I will show you just afterwards. I pass in a couple of secrets because most of the APIs need to be authenticated. Then I commit and I push. The script is the following. It's a Kotlin scripting file. So here I define a couple of dependencies. And well, I won't go into too much detail, but the important part is this one. So here I create a template. As I mentioned, I'm using the FreeMarker template engine. And so basically I create the template. I get it from the template.adoc. Template.adoc is this one. And here I define a couple of variables. I define like some like loops. And so what I'm doing is I will get the templates, and then I do all the scraping and the getting of all the data. And at the end, what I'm doing is here I put everything into a map, and then I write from the template the data into the template. So on one side, I have the data. On the other side, I have the template. I merge both and I write it into the readme.adoc. And then at the end, I've got like all my commits here. And you can see, well, I didn't do anything. And here, like a long time ago, I did some like commit myself because I had some like error. But you can see like it runs non-endlessly without any manual intervention. And here is the final result. As I mentioned, recent blog posts, upcoming talks, and the latest video recording. Of course, I put some links and whatever, but again, it's up to you to decide whatever you want to do with that. So thanks for your attention. You can follow me on Twitter. I've described in much more detail the steps that I have implemented. If you want to dive in deeper, you can check the blog post I wrote about it. And if you want to check my profile, well, here is the link.